As we were talking about in the short, our lovely 5D collective, Mystics and Not, they connect to and with pure consciousness, which is unconditional love, and that pure energy, which is your whole 3 year old heart. And I use heart, but it's to say that you have a handle on the sensations, images, affects, meanings, behaviors that come up with the body, and you're able to be aware of that behavior. No pathologizing, because we have good attachment trauma researchers out there sharing with us what to do to work with our either adaptive or maladaptive child behaviors for the people who want to live a true spirituality life. And that's the 5D collective. It's called Christ consciousness. It's called oneness consciousness. And I'm a 5D mystic, and we're going to have some channeled guidance in the Enlightenment Soul Age group. There's no laundry here. That's for people who don't want to do what is called emotional and mental work with personal development and self-help to continue being yourself. For those of us who did not separate from the restorative embodiment, our birthright, from secure attachment. So we got lucky with child-centric environments. Raise your hand. Here we are. I got lucky with Jesus and God too, even though as a mystic, an Akashic record reader, a tarot card reader, a Reiki master, we all know I'm not welcome by some. I will say that those who don't welcome me are not of faith, but that's because faith is not about the way that something is organized with rules that no longer apply, if you will, and that are really, really rigid, which is where structural dissociation, cognitive dissonance, religious, political, societal biases, there are ways that people will believe in the lack of imagination for evil. I will know of the lack of education, for this word is used by people of all types, and it's really a word, as lovely Michael Stone, forensic criminologist, shares, that is from philosophers and religious textbooks of the ancient times before sciences began to share. It's not about the apple falling far from the tree. You are not allowed to just treat your kid however the hell you want, and as long as you don't hit them with a frying pan, it's all good. All things I learned from good trauma experts. Also the spiritual bypassers, as well as, what are they called, the mantles of mental health. Yes, like people who want to post videos like, here's how to get underneath the skin of a narcissist. That's pure needing good therapy to get out of you're still working through a trauma that is yours, and now you're using and fueling with your own pent up anger that has not been resolved from your own childhood trauma or whatever it is. Personal experiences don't matter, but you got beef, and you're demonizing a group of people. Same thing. We don't romanticize or demonize anyone. The 5D collective, we have the Jacob personality. We don't scan self and other, because see, that's where a secure attachment human being with the prefrontal cortex is what I'm talking about. I know all about, thank you, Daniel Siegel, a default mode network of an integrated brain, because I'm living it. So you can come do personal development, self-help one-to-one. And as I shared yesterday, you can walk a mule to the well. You can't make them drink. And we got plenty of Pinocchios and wooden bodies, and they're all out there following Stromboli. So with that being said, though, I have some channeled messages as we continue, and I want to make it a short so that I can then pass on to our next message of the day, and then we'll be having a wrap for the week. So any person who's lucky like I am will have a whole open heart. You don't close it. In fact, you leave it open, and that's because you had a clear and tidy home. You got a child-centric environment. So you got the capacity to feel safe in here, which is why the inner growth mindset is really something straightforward, because you don't scan self, Maria, and other, you, human being. You don't scan self, Maria, and say, oh, society is shaming me because I have clairs, because I'm a solo polyamory person. Actually, that word shame doesn't mean anything in my book. Even if it came up ever, I have healthy self-worth, because my mother let me be a whole 3-year-old. You know what a 3-year-old does when somebody's going to say, I think you... Sure, keep talking. Because the minute somebody says, it's not personal, Maria, as an adolescent, I heard all of those words. And luckily, again, I got babied. So anytime I cried, I went home crying at my 4 years of age. I'm just sharing stories so that you can understand, because they didn't want to play with me, the kids, the boys. I already got rejected, and they did want to play with my twin. So lo and behold, I didn't get envious or jealous or spiteful. I learned all about the story of what was it, Cain and Abel. And as a child, I was like, why would I be envious of my own sibling? That's just not nice at all. I'm not going to do that. And oh, you find out that envy and jealousy and spite are part of our human herd's history, because when you get kicked out of the herd, and so there are some people who still live with the In fact, silverback, fear of inadequacy. So let me share with you the breakdown. 14 months old, it's been shown in studies that and this is where I'm an empowering voice. So this means when I share educational information as a Jacob right now, the people say, oh, that's not true. Or, so see, we're all made that way. That's called limited consciousness people who don't hear information in a way of, oh, that's informative, and now I can disengage from having any of those likes and dislikes, which are emotions that rule everybody. Oh, I didn't like that person. That doesn't need to be ruling you. You say, okay, that's a bias. You can stand on the side, 14-month-old. So 14 months old, they will play nice with the teddy bear that likes the same cereal they do. They will be hostile and not want to play with the teddy bear that likes the opposite cereal that they do. So Daniel Siegel, thank you. As he shares with me this long history of humanity, 50,000, I forget, whatever, million years. Like, well, that doesn't mean that we all do it. I didn't do it, but I got lucky. And then they're like, yeah, the world doesn't revolve around me. No, but I'm a voice right here to share. 5D Collective, come on over, because Jesus taught me all about how to share, forgive. I'm just saying, anybody hear the words? Because I did. Anybody hear God? I made you the way I wanted you to be made. I made everything that I wanted, which is why it's like, wait, they're telling us that science isn't yeah, you're wrong, because God made all of us the way that we're supposed to be made. So education was meant to be a part of our curriculum. You're all wrong, grandiosity people who aren't sending people to jail that need to go to jail and not following the law at all. I am not going to be on one side or another. I'm going to say Jacob is saying you're doing something wrong. And in fact, I told the man upstairs, which can be a man, an energy, Akash, it's all the words for an expanded piece of consciousness, because it's all love in life. Okay, so that's where 5D Collective, come on over. Again, you can walk a mule to the well. They might not drink, or actually, they might drink Kool-Aid. And you know what? Now I'm thinking about Robert Sapolsky. You're awesome, Robert. His book, Determined. And then there's a story he shares about these baboons, I think it is. And what happens when there's the silverback baboons who are not actual alpha males, but they're basically greedy. Yeah, some of us know how life works. Life extends life, not the other way around. The only ones who don't realize this are the limited consciousness people. But it's okay. So, anyways, I'm going to get off of that and get back into our conversation. Do you want to own your sense of self-worth and your sense of self? Do you want to become the version of you that emotionally can be very much humored by all people in a way of love? Or do you want to stay in the lack of education for the ignorant people who want to keep thinking evil exists in some way, shape, or form versus understanding trauma and attachment? I'm not laughing because it's funny. Pinocchios with wooden bodies, again, I see them in their codependent relationships, as well as the Venus is a goddesses of May and the people with capes. They're all over the place. They're amazing. And they pull wool over the eyes of people who say, I'm woo-woo. Yes, I am. I'm woo-woo and I'm pseudoscience. But if there's one thing you can't do is pull the wool over your eyes, over my, unless I trust you. And see, there's something called when we trust, we choose who we trust. Conscious lovers, that is, and conscious human beings, which is why we won't be brokenhearted. We will know what we will have consciously chosen, because see, this is what's called healthy self-worth. It's, I hold my heart body and my belly body, and my heart will say, I'm not closing because someone doesn't know how to be kind. Evil doesn't exist. It's called you're suffering, and I know exactly where to trace it back towards. It's called transgenerational and cultural trauma. So yes, people can take ownership of their maladaptive child behavior, of that we are sure. However, see, the obstacle is that they need to become people that can hear themselves. And so that means they need to get to that, wait, I got emotions, likes and dislikes. I got words that I'm projecting somewhere. What's my chit chatter? Am I talking about human suffering stuff? Nah, I am talking about human suffering. I'm not talking about forgiveness. I'm not talking about pain. Okay, so when you hear people telling you got laundry, they're not 5D Collective. They're people, for the ones who are, in my book, Pinocchios, with a wooden body, because they can put in the work to get into what is an integrated brain, restorative embodied self, because there's nothing special here. It's flesh that you see. Difference is, though, that I have an inner child because my mother didn't rupture me. She let me be a child, and then she raised me, yes, with Jesus. And I do love Jesus and God, but I'm not welcomed by some of those people. I do yoga. Apparently, yoga brings demons out of your body. No, it doesn't. if they got educated, they would learn how to speak and use their presence in an effort to not divide people, but to bring together intellectually and entertaining information. Because you can always do everything if you want. It's if you care about what you're doing. If you're biased, you're really distorting things, because Jacob will see that you're distorting. Also, divine feminines will always see the truth, because it's all about pure consciousness. Unconditional love is pure consciousness, pure energy. It's your 3-year-old. My most favorite childhood memory with my hypnotherapist went all the way back to my 3 years of age. Now, we all know that hypnotherapy is not taken as factual from the therapist, even the good ones. They'll say, okay, the hypnotherapy puts you in a state of, we'll consider it, but we won't say it's a necessary truth or part of, that whole reality and all that stuff. So again, 5D mystics, we don't get lost, which is why when channeling guidance right now, this is not going to show as well as I wanted it to, but it's okay. Those of you who know true love, it means you know true self-love first, so you get to get home to yourself your first 3 years of life, and that means you work with your emotional plane. And so the truth is that emotions and thoughts are not truths. They're subjective experiences, which is why you open your crown, your third eye, and you enter this vortex. What's a vortex? Well, it's a vortex that allows you to expand your consciousness, which means you, the human being. So living a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self is a true spirituality journey, for one. Two, it means you're ready for actual love life, because you're open-hearted and not looking at things like you need to have boxing gloves, or do you want to keep a man? Do you want to keep a woman? Wow, okay then. Sure, I don't think so. Nobody's on a leash. Good dog. Good, good, good. That's exactly how an empowered woman or man or they will feel about anybody saying, you want to keep someone? Now, let me expand in our romance focused one. Keeping someone, that's a 1-year-old who wants to securely attach, and that's something that is the mammalian heritage. So I'm in the Enlightenment Soul Age group. No laundry here. And if you want one-to-one mentorship, welcome. I take those who are serious about being their authentic self. And so we get to go on a journey together. And if we need help, we get good therapists. That's what I am in favor of. And I won't lie. I will tell you what is. So it's only people who can accept self-awareness and self-accountability and self-regulation desire. Not when I don't want to do personal development. I want life now. I can't understand what you're talking about. I don't want to do my 3-year-old work. Okay, so there's plenty of people. I want to keep my avoidant attachment because they're picking on us now. So you know what? All the ones who smile, they're all fucked up. They're all depressed. We're all fucked up. It sounds like teenagers I met. Wow, what an excuse to continue being unkind. And you find out, shit, they didn't realize something, Maria. What? Let me see. Let's go find our lovely Sadhguru, because he shared something awesome today. Sadhguru, you always share awesome quotes. To ignore mortality is the greatest ignorance. Yes. So Pinocchio with wooden body. People who keep doing what is called the shame cycle. And that's inner critic and outer critic. However they twist it and turn it, it'll be the same to somebody like us. Oh, they're not clearing their karma. No, they're just doing a karma wheel. In fact, they don't hear their angelic voice because nobody's talking. Hey, wait a minute. Maybe I'm behaving in a way that I shouldn't. And I could really disengage from it, because there's plenty of good childhood trauma therapists online and personality disorder therapists online. Now, let's ignore the demonizing human beings. They're the Stromboli's for the ones who are Pinocchios with the wooden bodies, okay? So we know how to be tender and sensual, not in the way of what is re-traumatizing, by the way. To do things well means to get you home first to your whole self, your 1-year-old. Then once you have access to your own Jacob, then you can, for a person that knows inner and outer well-being, yes, with Akashic intelligence. Pure consciousness is love. And that is what we'll continue talking about in our next episode. In the meantime, welcome aboard. Anybody who is new, like, share, subscribe. Once we get to 1K, we're going to have our Ask Maria on YouTube as well. It's an opinionated columnist episode version. You send me your situation. You ask me for food for thought with the capacity to understand that it's subjective human being experience. Yes, attachment, trauma informed, but the disclaimer is it's a human being who's giving you, yes, some advice consult, not to tell you what to do. It's based on subjective opinions. The outcome is not foreseen, all these things that some people do need to be spelled out. So look, you see my eyes? I'll make sure to make you understand that again and again and again. And do remember that the episodes stay online for all. And so you want to make sure, if you can, share all the details. That's great. I've been trying to remember to put that in there because, plenty of us are okay with sharing our stories. But, if you have any doubts, you just make up names, make up cities, make up locations, and there's that. But food for thought can support people who are seeking actual ways to get out of the karma wheel and into the dharma wheel, and to actually bring forth love into a picture. A lot of people, they can use the capacity to speak a truth. A truth is not one that says I'm right or wrong. That's an adaptive child. Those are the Pinocchios with the wooden bodies. No, a truth is a conversation. That's with your divine feminine. So your body and your mind is your divine masculine, which is why it's not the twin flame or flames or soulmates that awaken you to your spirituality journey. It's you. It's always been you. It's that people who are not whole, they don't want to be their self. Why would I want to be me, Maria? And then it's like, well, I'm not going to answer that. It's not a trick question. I just know that I'm going to get deflection the minute that I try to tell your adaptive children, teenager, you want to get home to your first 3 years of life. Found it hard to believe that my implicit memory means anything. Well, the reality is the first year of your life matters a lot. And you can get out of that attachment category and pattern, like completely. Just, you need to want to put your best, both feet forward and your whole hands and, all of you. And then you're going to have to be able to hear feedback in the, okay, I welcome this. And I want to notice my temperature, my behaviors, okay, self-awareness. And that's where we're living a life of meaning and connection beyond the soul self. I know, isn't it beautiful? And then you got people say, no, Maria. Okay, we'll be back with more. Again, thank you for stopping by.